This is pork burnt ends. At least that's what it tastes like. It's actually made using rice paper and textured protein, and it's incredibly easy to make and super tasty.
This is awesome.
Right? I've been into a barbecue kick a lot lately, but I wanted to find a quick way to get that barbecue flavor without the grill or the meat. So here it is. First, you need some textured protein. I'm going to be using Plant Basics textured protein chunks from today's sponsor, fakemeats.com, but more on that one later. This recipe is going to take a bit of time to complete, but it can be done the day before and ready to cook really whenever you like. And almost all the time is waiting time. I'm going to add about 1.5 cups of the chunks into a saucepan and cover them with Plant Basics ham flavor. Now, I want these to have like a nice fatty texture, so I'm actually going to be using about a tablespoon of olive oil. I'm going to try to replicate that fatty end trimming pieces, like the burnt ends. You find them on sandwiches a lot, banh mi's, and sometimes just like on their own, like this. So now I'm just going to cover these with water, about 2 cups. Now, normally I would just let these hydrate up, but I really wanted these to come out pretty thick and have like a chewier texture. So I'm going to add about 1 tablespoon of cornstarch, kick on the heat to about a medium low, and let these come to a simmer and just cook down to where most of the moisture is gone. Now that took about 15 minutes. The chunks are nice and soft, and there's like a little sauce covering on them. Now there are a few ways that you could do this next part, but I wanted to put these under a little pressure. So I'm going to pour them into a bowl, place a second bowl on top, and then weigh them down with some like rice or any like heavy thing that you have. Now you can toss these in the fridge if you like, but really it just needs about 30 minutes for this step here. But if you can do overnight, that would be great, and it's plenty of time for today's sponsor.
Fakemeats.com is the place to go for all of your fake meats needs, including the new Plant Basics, plant-based seasonings, and plant-based proteins. These are powdered seasonings that go great with just about everything and make anything taste like chicken, beef, or ham. And I love their Plant Basics textured proteins. They have strips, chunks, crumbles, and ground. You can use the Plant Basics plant-based seasonings to make broth, mix in with other spices to add a meaty flavor, or just sprinkle them on your favorite foods while cooking. I do that a lot. They have simple ingredients and they go great with the Plant Basics textured vegetable proteins. Today I'm using the just like ham and the chunks, but you could use the just like beef or just like chicken with the chunks, the ground. It all works fantastic together. You can use these chunks for so many different things using so many different flavors to hydrate them up, and you can use the just like ham on just about anything. I've used it on jackfruit and hearts of palm. It comes out really good. And all of this is plant-based, gluten-free, and non-GMO. So gang, click the link below or head over to fakemeats.com for an exclusive sale. You're gonna get 15% off the Plant Basics line from now until July 31st. Use code SAUCE23 only at fakemeats.com. Thanks Fake Meats for sponsoring today's video and for the entire Plant Basics line. I just love this stuff.
And we're back. These are nice and pressed, and they have a slightly tougher texture. I'm going to grab a second bowl, fill it with some hot water and 1 teaspoon of that ham flavoring and about 10 sheets of rice paper. I'm going to be using the rice paper as kind of like the fatty skin texture of the pork. It's going to come out nice and crispy and nice and soft, all in one swoop. It's going to work perfect. Now this step can be a bit tedious, I'll be honest, but it's wildly good how these come out. First, you need to hydrate up the rice paper. I'm going to lay the sheet down and soften them up. For the first one I did a whole sheet of rice paper and laid the chunks out, but then I realized on the next one, it really only needed to be about a half of a sheet. Now we're gonna make sure that we lay all of the chunks out. I'm gonna try to use the biggest chunks up and line them all together and roll these up almost like they're kind of like beans. Now I'm sure this could be done a few different ways, but I folded over the sides, rolled the back over, and then flipped and rolled this closed to make kind of like a big green bean, like I said. But the seeds are pork flavored protein, which is, in my opinion, a little bit better. So now I'm just going to repeat this process until almost all of the chunks are used and we are out of rice paper. I'm going to toss these into a bowl, throw them in the fridge, and allow that rice paper to like dry up and firm up a bit. The rice paper is actually going to shrink around the protein chunks, and these are going to come out pretty good. So after a few hours sitting in the fridge, these are almost dry. In a large bowl, I'm going to get a smoky barbecue sauce ready, kind of like a wet rub. I'm going to use 3 tablespoons of olive oil with 1 tablespoon brown sugar, a teaspoon smoked paprika, 2 teaspoons garlic powder, some fresh black pepper, a teaspoon of maple syrup, and a few little drops of liquid smoke. Just mix that up, realized I didn't really have enough, and I could have just kind of doubled this recipe up, but I just decided to add some of my own barbecue sauce. I just had some Sweet Baby Ray's. So at this point, I pulled out my pork flavored beans, cut them into little chunks. They don't have to be directly on the line, but you can try to find the breaks between the middle, but either way, if you cut them in half, it's still gonna work. Now, you wanna be kind of gentle with these because they can fall apart until they're cooked. I tossed these into the bowl as I was cutting them, gently tossed them, and continued tossing until I was completely done. Now for this, I wanted to see if it would work in an air fryer. Now, you just need to get these hot enough for the rice paper to crisp up, so like on the grill would be perfect. If you can get your grill to 350, 400 degrees, that'll be great. They'll crisp up great. I wanted to throw them in the air fryer at 400 degrees for about 7 or 8 minutes on each side. I did 7 minutes the first round, kind of shook them around, and then did another 6 minutes, and that worked perfect. And I watched these the entire time because that rice paper can go from having a nice burnt end kind of consistency to like just completely burnt. But I mean, look at these. These look incredible. So now let's see what Monica has to say.
Is it really hot?
Mm-mm.
It's hot.
Oh, I'm okay with it.
Hot, but this is awesome.
Right?
This is awesome. So it's soft in the center, crispy on the outside, just very tender. Definitely has the pork belly feel to it, that like fatty kind of like bite of meat. But it's got a meat texture, nice snap and crunch. I love it.
Yeah. Definitely tastes like pork. Bacony, smoky.
Yeah.
They're like peppery from like the barbecue sauce. Soft and crispy. I mean,
It tastes like meat.
yeah. You know, this is very much like
A meaty. Yeah, so this would be like, I'm trying to think of how this would be good. So like you could even eat it as finger food and like with a sauce, you could dip it, you know? Like that would be cool.
I'm thinking on a sandwich.
You could put it in like, you
Banh
could put it
mi's.
in a taco.
Oh. Yeah. I mean,
You could make a bao.
oh, it'd be great on a bao. It'd be great on a banh mi. I mean, it's just, it has, I'm beside myself on this one. Oh my God, on the camera. I'm beside myself on this one.
You could throw it in a stir fry too.
This is legit meaty goodness.
Yeah, I really like that.
It came out better than my expectations, I'll be honest. It really did.
Yeah, this is delicious.
I knew the skin combination with the textured protein would really work, but this really worked.
You didn't think it would be this good.
Yeah, happy about that.
Enjoyable.
Yeah.